Okay, let's get started. Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. If this is first time here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get notification every single time that I post a video, and I post every single week. As you can see in the title, on today's video I'm going to be giving you a list of high-rated horror movies that I don't like. Yes, I'm kind of scared of doing this video just because the internet can be a wild place, and sometimes giving opinions can be like hard because of the response of everyone. So I don't know, but still I really felt like I wanted to do this video, so here I am. Now I want to give a disclaimer, please. If you like one of the movies that I'm going to be mentioned that I don't like, please, if you're going to disagree with me, at least do it with respect. I think that is the only thing that I can ask. Like, I am not saying that you have to agree with me, of course not. If you like it, that's good for you. But seriously, I don't see the point of being disrespectful or fighting or something just because I don't like a certain movie that maybe you love. Or vice versa. I have heard people that hate Friday the 13th of 1980s, what is my favorite horror movie. And that's okay. That is your opinion. You're not obligated to like the same things. I mean, that's the beauty of it, no? So given that disclaimer ahead, let's get into the video. Like I said, they're going to be high-rated horror movies, so I'm going to be from 70% to 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, and also in general have good critics. Now there's like there are 9 films in total. Basically, I am not the type of person that hates every single movie that comes out, especially when it comes to modern horror. I know that maybe can come off as like that because most of the lists are modern horror movies, but I do enjoy modern horror. It's just that just specifically these ones, I didn't like them that much. I didn't feel that they were movies for me. So I am not a hater of modern horror, just given that too. The very first film on this list is The Ritual. This is a 2017 British horror film directed by David Bruckner. Now, this film follows a group of old college friends who reunite for a trip to a forest in Sweden, Northern Europe, but they encounter a menacing presence that are stalking them. Now, I remember that when this movie came out on Netflix, I watched it right away, the same day. I just watched the trailer. I didn't really do much research, and I liked the trailer, so I just watched it. And as I was watching, I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. But when it came to the ending, I kind of changed my mind. For me, the movie is not bad. I think that it has a pretty original story. It's actually based on a book. I haven't had the chance to read the book, but I didn't like it. Like, I don't know, the ending for me was like, really? Everything just for this? Oh, by the way, I'm not giving major spoilers of the movies here in case that you haven't watched any of those yet. So who knows? But the reality is that I didn't enjoy the ending, so I like it like half of the movie, but in general, it's not the type of movie that I will rewatch. Maybe, who knows, I will have the motivation to rewatch it, but at least when I watched it the first time, I didn't have the very best first impressions. So, like I'm saying, the movie is not bad, but it's definitely not a movie for me. Now, the second one, it's a pretty recent one, and it's Blood Red Sky. That is an action horror film that is directed by Peter Thorwan. Now, this one follows a woman with a mysterious illness that is forced into action when a group of terrorists attempt to hijack a transatlantic overnight flight. This one, I watched it because I saw a lot of hype on it on the internet just a few days after it was released on Netflix. And the reality is that I wasn't able to get through it. I watched it completely, but it's 2 hours long. And it felt like it was almost 4 to 5. Seriously, for me, it was so long, but I wouldn't say that it's a slow burn. I would say that it's more way too many things together. The vampire creatures kind of remind me to 30 Days of Night, if you have watched that one. But the reality is that Blood Red Sky, I don't know, I just didn't connect with the characters. Many people talking about how good the story was, how beautiful the mother-son relationship, but for me, I didn't felt like, of course I can relate to her, I am not a mother, but I don't know, it wasn't like the movie for me. And I do like some vampire movies, but I think that this one definitely it was a little bit overhyped. I have seen a little bit of mixed reviews, but mostly were good. But on the downside, at least for me, it wasn't like I don't know. I think that it was way too overhyped, at least for me. Now, next one is one that I have said quite a few times, and it's Paranormal Activity. That is a 2007 American supernatural horror film that is also found footage. Now, here basically it's about a young couple who are haunted by a supernatural presence in their home, and they set a camera to document what is haunting them. I remember when this movie came out, the hype, how the marketing was working, how they were putting footage of people getting really scared of what goes around this type of movies. And I think that it really did an impact, at least on the early 2000s, especially on found footage. But the reality is that I am not the huge fan of found footage in general. That doesn't mean that I'm saying that they're bad, but I don't enjoy them as much as other people that truly love found footage. So of course this one, I was a little girl. I wasn't even. I was like maybe 7 or 8, and I remember watching it. I was like, yeah, I kind of like it, but I don't love it. But I have rewatched it a few times over the years, and the reality is that I don't like it. I don't know. I think that the problem here was making it a franchise, because at least on my way to see it, if you're going to do a found footage film, you want it to be as realistic as possible in the way that sometimes sequels they take away that. So of course, if you're doing this based on real events and suddenly you do a sequel, of course it takes away that sense of being based on true events. So I think that is one of the main things why I don't like it, is the fact that they exploded the whole thing. Like, if they have left it on the first one, that was for me okay, maybe I wouldn't dislike it as much. Because the reality is that every time that I have rewatched it, and now knowing that, of course, this is based on true events, things we all know there are tricks, but you still kind of feel it's based on true events, that was real, that type of feeling. So of course, once that it's lost, like that magic, of course the experience is not the same. So for me, at least, that was the major thing here. But in general, I didn't feel like it was the greatest movie ever. I just watched it and I was like, yeah, okay. But it wasn't like, for me, like super amazing horror movie that I want to rewatch every single day, if you understand what I'm saying. Next one, I am scared to say this. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. That is directed by Tobe Hooper. Now, this film follows a group of friends who fall victim to a family of cannibals who are on the way to visit an old homestead. Now, this film also was marketed as being based on true events. Actually, it was one of the things that pushed it and why it kind of became so iconic. Of course, over the years, many people are still thinking that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a real event, when actually the whole thing is just inspired by the murders of Ed Gein, and the inspiration for many characters, not just Leatherface. Now, I have a good reason for not precisely liking this movie, and it's because when I was little, I remember that the first movie I ever saw of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise was Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. That's why I have the poster there, because I really like the poster, just really. But that was the very first movie I ever saw. And I remember it was about to be released on HBO on a Friday night, and my mom and I would sit down to watch it. Of course, if you have watched it, you know that it's pretty violent, gore, and it's not the best. Like, seriously, that movie, I'm not saying that it's good at all. Like, it's one of those bad movies that you can't help to like, if you understand. I am guilty of that. So the thing is that I watched that one, and that's the very first time for me watching Leatherface in action. Then I watched the remake of the 1974 film, and it wasn't until years later that I was able to watch the 1974 film. So of course, when I watched it, I was like, really? Like this? So I think that it was the fact that I watched the remakes first. It's what ruined the whole experience for me. Like, I am not saying that the remakes are better than the original. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you ask me which Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you put me here to choose which one I would like to watch, probably I'm going to choose either the remake or the prequel, just because I enjoyed them a little bit more, just because I watched them first. Like, when you watch a remake and then you watch the original, it's kind of hard to like do the switch and maybe think, hey, the original was better, because of course if they're old movies, the special effects are not going to be as good when it comes to makeup. The way of, I don't know, the way of doing movies has changed a lot over the years, so of course it changes. So for me, my recommendation to everyone, watch the original first. Well, sometimes that can even ruin the experience, because if you want to watch a remake, you're going to be in mind, oh, the original is better, and you're not going to enjoy them. So go with a blank mind here. But the thing is that I am not saying that the movie is bad, but I think that, I don't know, it's not one that I would like definitely enjoy watching all the time. Like, I do enjoy all horror movies, but definitely the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not one. But now, here's the one that I am scared the most to talk about, and is Hereditary by Ari Aster, that was released in 2018. This stars Toni Collette and follows a family haunted by a mysterious presence after the death of their secretive grandmother. Now, I watched this one in quarantine because although I am a huge horror fan, there was a time in my life, especially when I was in college, where basically I didn't want to watch horror movies in movie theaters, because I was finding myself in a situation where people were ruining the experience because of teenagers or things like that. You understand? So if you don't have people on the audience that they're kind of on the same page of you, like watching horror movies with true horror fans, that's a whole other experience. But when you're not, when you're watching it with people that it's laughing, making jokes, being nasty, like seriously, takes away everything. So of course, this one was one of the movies that I didn't watch it until years later. And I remember my roommate talking me about it, but I was like, yeah, one day I will watch it. She overhyped the movie for me. Like, she said that it was the best movie ever, and I even saw it, like some pages talking about the movie, how good it was. I watched it, the scene of Toni Collette screaming that I am your mother. That scene, I remember watching it alone on Twitter. The picture of the head on the road with the ants. So, but still, I didn't have the spoilers, so of course I didn't really know what the movie is really about. So of course I kind of went completely blind. I didn't watch a trailer. But the thing is that when I finally sit down and watch the movie, it wasn't definitely what I was expecting at all. Like, seriously, it was a huge surprise. But definitely for me, I was like, yeah, I watched it, but definitely it's not a movie that I will repeat. Like, it made me uncomfortable on the way, not that the situations, but on the way that I want, can this be done? Like, seriously, I want this to go a little bit faster so that I can take it off. I don't want to miss the ending, but at the same time, I want things to go a little bit faster. Came for me kind of like, seriously, can this go on, move on? But still, I'm not going to deny the fact that it has made an impact in modern horror movies. Toni Collette's acting was amazing. I mean, that woman deserved an award for that, seriously. But at the end, it's not the type of movie that I enjoy. So it's just not for me, but I am saying that it's bad if you love it. And I do acknowledge that it definitely has some elements and things that can make it a good horror movie. But at least on my personal taste and opinion, it's not the type of movie that if you put me on a list, I'm not going to take it. But maybe if you're wondering if I do like Midsommar, that it's the other Ari Aster horror movie, yes. I did really like it, Midsommar. Maybe because visually it's so stunning. And I also like it a little bit more, like the story and the symbolism and everything. So I enjoyed that one a little bit more, and also wasn't expecting nothing at all. So I went completely blind on that one. But if you're in case that you're wondering, yes, I do like Midsommar. Hereditary, not so much. Now, next one I have The Cabin in the Woods. This is a 2012 American horror comedy film. that follows a group of college students who retreat to a remote forest cabin where they fall victims to Blackwood zombies while technicians manipulate events from an underground facility. Now this one, it's so ridiculous to me. I am not a huge fan of horror comedy. Like seriously, I am not. I am not the type of person that enjoys stupid things because of course the whole point around horror comedy is stupid. Like it's the whole point sometimes in comedy, like being stupid. But personally, I don't enjoy that. Like I don't know, it has always been something firm on me. But I don't enjoy movies where things are way too stupid or exaggerating. So of course this one for me was way too stupid. I have only watched it once and for me it was more than enough. I don't even know why people like it so much. I'm going to be honest, this is the type of movie that I ask myself why. Seriously, if you like this movie, tell me why. Like seriously, I'm not saying that it's well, this one for me in my way to see it, it's a bad movie. I'm sorry, but this one, I don't know. I remember when they revealed the whole thing on the ground was like, are you kidding me? Oh my god. So this one, it's a no for me. If you ask me to die or watch this one, I'm going to die because seriously, I still don't get why people like this one so much. Next one I have It Follows. This is a 2014 supernatural horror film that follows a 19-year-old college student who is pursued by a supernatural entity after a sexual encounter. Now this one, I remember watching it because I saw a list of the best horror movies on the decade, so of course this one is going to be on it. So I watched it and it for me was okay. Like it wasn't like the best, but it wasn't the worst either. Like I'm not saying that it's bad, but I think that this one is a little bit overhyped. I think that yeah, the plot is can be original. Of course, you're not expecting that, but at the same time, I kind of don't get why people like it so much. And like if you like this movie, like you're more than welcome to tell me why you like it so much. Because on my way to see it, like I said, for me it's okay. Like it's on the middle ground. It's a movie that maybe if they're giving it, maybe I will watch it just if I don't have anything else. But definitely, it wouldn't be like a first or even a 10th choice for me. Like it will be on the bottom list because I have nothing else to do or watch. Next one, this is the only one from the list that I truly and deeply hate, and it's The Babadook from 2014. That is an Australian psychological horror film. Now, this one follows a single mother and her child that fall into a deep well of paranoia when an eerie children's book titled Mr. Babadook manifests in their home. Oh boy, I remember I watched this one when I first opened my Netflix account on 2016 and it was like on the top on horror, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Who knows? I don't know what is this, so I'm gonna watch it. I am not the type of person that can really stand babies or kids at all. Like, I am not a children's person. I don't want kids for a reason. So having these kids screaming and being so annoying make me, like for me, this movie was a torture. You might be thinking, why did you watch it, like the whole movie? Because I don't like to like turn off movies in the middle and not knowing what is happening. Like, who knows? Sometimes maybe can get better. But this one wasn't the case for me. I don't get why people like this one. For me, that children is so annoying. She is really annoying. Like seriously, for me, I hated those characters with such passion that I can't watch this movie. Seriously, it's going to make me mad. Like I said, I don't stand kids. Like for me, the two no-nos in horror movies, not just horror, are kids that are crying and being annoying, and stupidity. So of course there are many I would say horror, but there are many movies that I don't like because of that reasons, because I can't stand them. Seriously, I just can't. So I'm going to push back and not watch those movies that include that. So this one for me, it's a no. If you like it, I am sorry, but seriously, this one I just can't. Like seriously, I just can't. And the last one that it has 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't know why, it's Host. This is a 2020 British computer screen supernatural horror film that basically follows six friends that are hired on a medium to hold a sentence via Zoom during the lockdown, but they gave far more when they bargained for as things quickly go wrong. I remember we are all in quarantine. Of course, this movie comes out because the hype, and it's called the best horror movie ever, the best horror movie of the year, blah blah blah, has 100% of Rotten. I don't know how. So I decided to open a Shutter account in order to watch it because it's a Shutter original. And I remember that I watched it. I was like, why people like this? Seriously, I questioned myself because there's the movie called or Unfriended, where it's basically kind of the same format, just that it's not Zoom. Is maybe we could say it's not Skype either, but kind of webcam kind of thing. I don't like those type of movies. The reality is I don't enjoy them. But curiosity killed the cat, and I was like, well, if people are saying that this is the best horror movie of the year and whatever, the last thing I can do is watch it. So I decided to watch it, and I regretted every single second that I spent watching it. Seriously, I don't like the movie at all. For me, it was like a torture too. Like I can't stand like those type of formats when it's the whole Zoom thing. Like I felt like I was doing a class, and I want to watch movies to stress relief, not to thinking about classes. Online classes are the worst. So the reality is that I don't enjoy this type of movies, but still it's kind of my fault because I decided to watch it and not like turn it off. But like I said, I don't like to do that. But the reality is that I will never get why people like it this one so much. Like seriously, I just don't get it. And well, this is all for the list. I am really scared about the comments and the response. Like I said, please, if you're going to disagree, please be respectful. Like there's no need to be mean on the comments or that type of things. Please, that's the only thing that we'll ever ask, because you're like I said, you're not obligated to agree with me or vice versa. But the thing is that just because movies are high rated and have good critics, you're not obligated to like it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Don't ever feel the obligation to like a movie just because the people around you are saying that they're good and they like it. That happened to me with a few of those, especially Hereditary. I feel like I need to like this movie because everyone likes it, but the reality is that I'm 100% sure that no matter how many times I watch it, I'm not going to enjoy it as much as the others. So don't ever feel like you need to like even classics. Like don't feel the need that you have to like and enjoy every single one of the classics to be a true horror fan, because just to be a horror fan you just need to like horror. You don't need to see the worst or the most disturbing horror movies ever, or like every single movie that comes out and that has good ratings. Seriously, don't ever feel obligated to like sacrifice your taste and your opinion in movies just because the others are saying that it's good. So, and that's my way to see things. That's why I am 100% sure in the movies that I like and that I don't like. I don't really need to go that deep on my mind. If I like it, if I like it. If I don't, I don't. And I'm not going to fight for it. I even put on TikTok my top 10 horror movies, and someone was furious because The Exorcist wasn't on it. And my response basically was that I do like The Exorcist. I mean, I have the poster right there. I mean, all the movies are here is because I like them. But that doesn't mean that needs to be in my top 10. I mean, it definitely can be in our top 20 probably. But let's be real here. If I say that it's one of my favorite horror movies, I'm going to be called a basic. Or that I don't know anything about horror and I'm just like saying that it's just because it's a classic. But if I don't like it, I don't know anything about horror. But the reality is that how can you assume that I don't like it just because it's not on my top 10? And that top 10 really switches because from time to time I tend to like more of some movies than the others. It's the same with music. So just because a classic is not on a top 10, that doesn't mean that I don't like it. And even what if I don't? What if I don't? I mean, that doesn't make me any less of a horror fan. I know people that doesn't like The Exorcist, and that movie is considered the best horror movie in history. And there's people that doesn't like it, and that doesn't make them any less of horror fans. They have their own opinion, and we should respect that. So, ending with that little rant, or maybe just like venting my opinion on the case, this is all for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Would you like me to do low-rated horror movies that I love? Because definitely I do have some bad horror movies that I truly love, and I do have a really good explanation why. Maybe you agree with me on some of the movies that I say. Maybe I missed one that is high rated that everyone loves, but maybe you don't. That's completely okay if you want to share it on the comments. And well, like I said, this is all for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Bye!